If I asked you to tell me about a specific day from 12 years ago, would you be able to remember everything that happened? Well, Bill Cosby's lawyers are hoping the answer to that is no, you can't remember beyond any reasonable doubt.
That's the argument they're making. One of Cosby's lawyers filed a motion to have the sexual assault charges against the comedian in Pennsylvania thrown out. Defense attorney Randy Zelin joins us now with his reaction on this. So this is essentially a he said, she said case. How strong a case is it, though, for the defense there if it's really there's no physical evidence for this?
You start out with the proposition that in the absence of physical evidence, in the absence of forensic evidence, DNA evidence, in the absence of another witness, in the absence of surveillance, it is a very, very difficult case. But go completely now to the other side, because if, in fact, Mr. Cosby made an admission sworn under oath at a deposition saying, I did it, and it happened, then he might as well just determine where he wants to serve his time.
But did he say in that deposition, I did it, or did he say that he did supply Quaaludes to some women who, and it was left up in the air as to whether they had requested them or not?
Well, let's assume for the moment that you're right, and I'm not 100% sure that he stopped short of that, because that would fly in the face of this whole bigger issue, which is the prosecutors came to me and said, listen, Bill, tell you what. Deal with the civil suit, tell the truth, don't worry about a criminal prosecution, you will not be prosecuted. I don't think that the prosecution would have done that for him to give a wishy-washy kind of maybe did I'm not really sure. But even if he only said that much, that still is putting you down a road. If I am Bill Cosby and Bill Cosby's lawyers, I don't want to go anywhere near.
So this Pennsylvania case, it's the only case that he's been criminally charged. You have 50 other women alleging he did the same thing to them. If this case in Pennsylvania fails, is there anything these other women can do?
I would say from a criminal standpoint, probably not, but I would respectfully submit that if all of anybody out there were actually had to tell the truth, I don't think anyone's interested in sending Mr. Cosby to prison. I think they're far more interested in extracting money from his wallet. I think that's just the reality of the situation, and it doesn't change things civilly.
Well, I mean, listening to a lot of these women talk, I think part of this, too, is just wanting acknowledgement that this happened to them.
Right.
I haven't heard a whole lot of discussion of, I want to sue this guy so he doesn't have a penny left. Not that there aren't people out there who are planning to do that. But isn't a part of this just admit it, get it behind you, make your apology, and move forward? That
is such a great question, because you have this whole new mystery injected into the conversation, which is what happened in 2005. Did a criminal prosecutor sit down with Mr. Cosby's lawyers and say, listen, I'll tell you what, go in there, tell the truth, acknowledge your wrongdoing, and I'm cool with it. You're not going to be prosecuted criminally. If that, in fact, is the case, then certainly you would have to be a moron not to acknowledge what you've done, accept the responsibility, and my God, put this behind you. Why he is allowing this to perpetuate and gather steam, now try to put the brakes on it in the face of this criminal prosecution, I don't think any of us sitting here right now can say who's right, who's wrong, because no one's mistaken. Somebody's not telling the truth here.
Right.
Well, that's the he said, she said part of this whole case. Let's go to Bill Cosby's wife, Camille. They want her to give a deposition. The defense is adamant that she don't. What's the reasoning behind this?
Well, I can think of quite a few. Very interesting. The law says that between a husband and wife, I can have a conversation with my wife, and my wife can't roll over on me.
Right.
It is the husband and wife privilege. It's the spousal privilege. That spousal privilege is supposed to protect those communications that you're only going to tell someone that you have the closest and most confidential communications with. That does not necessarily, though, continue on to criminal activity. You can't necessarily tell your wife about a crime that you've committed and then basically, she can't talk, though it's an interesting legal argument. I think the bigger concern is if she is under that white-hot spotlight, and I don't care if you're in a deposition or you're in a courtroom, it is a daunting, intimidating, not fun place to be, particularly if you have a seasoned lawyer asking you questions. And I think that they are deathly afraid that through her demeanor, the way she behaves, the way she answers questions, that she could Maybe she just finally says, I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did it, and I can't do this, and I can't cover for him anymore. You just don't know what she's going to do. So keep her away.
Right.
All right, Randy Zelin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.